Residents in select cities throughout the Bay Area are making a commitment to address climate change by implementing energy and water conservation measures in their own homes. Stay tuned to learn more about the actions that they are taking and how you too can become involved in a program that can save on average $300 per year and 2,000 pounds of carbon dioxide emissions.
Welcome to The Better Part, a program by and for seniors and devoted to exploring the many facets of those better years of our lives. The name of our program is inspired by a quotation from Robert Browning. Grow old along with me, the best is yet to be, the last of life for which the first was made.
With us today in the studio is Twana Carney, Program Director for Actera's Green at Home. In this capacity, Twana is leading the transformation of Bay Area homes into healthy spaces that can serve rather than deplete resources. Green at Home is empowering each individual with actions that can lead to significant changes to benefit both our communities and the planet. We will explore many of these actions today in the studio. Welcome, Twana.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you also to The Better Part for inviting me to join you as your guest host. My name is Erin Cook, and I am the City of Cupertino's Environmental Affairs Coordinator. Cupertino is one of the many cities that has formed a partnership with Actera to offer our residents free home energy audits that include the installation of up to $70 worth of energy savings devices, which we will learn more about today on today's program. Twana, let's start with the basics. The program we will learn about today is a program of the environmental organization Actera. Can you give us a brief background of the history of Actera as well as the diversity of programs offered?
Absolutely. Actera has 39-year history in environmental work in Silicon Valley, and our emphasis has been on providing solution-oriented projects and to strengthen the environmental movement at the grassroots effort. And we do this by providing hands-on projects that people can work on to foster a healthy planet. And so if by doing this, people can actively engage in the projects and see the results of their work, and this empowers them to continue doing good things and to take on new challenges. Now, Actera itself took the Actera name in 2000 when the Peninsula Conservation Center, which was formed in 1970, joined with the Bay Area Action that was formed in 1990. We are a tax-exempt nonprofit. We have 21 paid employees, and we're governed by a 13-member board, but we also have 1,000 volunteers. And in addition, we have probably our long history in the environmental movement has helped us to have the wisdom of 2 generations of environmental leaders. So we have other programs than Green at Home, which is my program. We have our Arastradero Preserve Stewardship Project and our San Francisquito Habitat Restoration Project, the Watershed Project, and both of those are emphasize restoring damaged natural habitats. And we use hundreds of volunteers who commit their time and efforts to doing that. And we also have our Young Earth Stewards program, where we involve youth in these same habitat restoration projects so that they can form a connection to the earth. We have a couple of programs that acknowledge and develop leadership, like our Business Environmental Awards, where we acknowledge and recognize companies and businesses in the Bay Area who are doing really good environmental work, and our Be the Change program. In addition, we also act as a fiscal sponsor for fledgling projects that aren't able to form their own 501c3.
So Actera offers a multitude of opportunities for residents in the Bay Area to get involved in environmental initiatives.
Yes, and all focused on optimism and solution-oriented programs.
That's excellent. Well, as you can tell from Twana's response, she is a very passionate environmental advocate. Could you give our viewers a brief history or an example of some of your background and how you came to work for Actera?
Sure. Well, I was thinking the other day, right now I work in helping people save energy at home for a nonprofit, but I realized I've been in energy for a long time because I graduated as a chemical engineer and went to work for a major oil company. From there, I went on to work in high-tech marketing and eventually moved into the nonprofit sector, where I became the director for 9 years of a local leadership program. So I have a lot of nonprofit background. And my husband and I had always been interested in the environment, but when we saw an inconvenient truth, we really became passionate and galvanized to take action towards reducing the effects of climate change. So for a year, I worked as a volunteer giving presentations to the public on what is global warming, how does that cause climate change, what can we do about it, before I took the job with Actera in July of 2008 with Green at Home.
Wow. So it was a natural fit, really, from your prior experience.
Yes, yes.
That's great. And Actera, or Green at Home specifically, is a new program, correct?
Yes, it is relatively new. It was started in July of 2008, and it was developed to kind of fill a void that enabled people to receive free home energy audits. PG&E used to do free home energy audits. They don't do that anymore. They will do them for free energy audits for businesses. But we came in and we made arrangements with 5 different cities in the Bay Area, Cupertino is one of them, to give free home energy audits to people at home. But we do more than that. We install energy saving devices as well. So we've to date we've trained over 200 volunteers, and we've done over 320 house calls, we call them, over the entire Bay Area. And a house call is a combination of us installing up to 8 energy savings devices and then doing an audit of the home and then discussing that with the residents. And you can get one of these house calls whether you rent or own or live in an apartment, as long as you live in one of these cities: Cupertino, Menlo Park, Palo Alto, Redwood City, and Sunnyvale. But one of the things you ask if the program is new, the program's new, but saving energy really isn't new. I know my parents, who are both still alive, thank goodness, lived through World War II, or of the World War II generation, and that during that time energy was rationed, or recycling metal was common, victory gardens were common for growing your own food, and these programs were really successful and really brought in the idea that saving energy and not wasting is good.
Green at Home is a new program, correct?
Yes, it is relatively new. It started in July of 2008. That's when I joined Actera, but many of the fundamentals had been developed right before I came on board. To date, we have performed over 320 house calls. That's a combination of the home energy audit and installing the free energy saving devices in the home, and trained over 200 volunteers. It's a volunteer-based program who work in pairs and go into homes to give the house calls. And so the Green at Home program is geared toward saving people energy at home, because 21% of the energy we use nationwide is in the home. And so if we want to reduce energy use and thus the carbon dioxide produced by that energy, which goes on to worsen global warming, then saving energy at home is a really logical grassroots way to start to do that. So, when we talked about the fact that the house calls are free to people in 5 cities that we serve. We serve Cupertino, we serve Menlo Park, Palo Alto, Redwood City, and Sunnyvale. And anybody who lives in those cities can receive a house call. And whether you live in a home, whether you own your home or rent or live in an apartment, you just need to live in those cities to be able to request one of these house calls. Now, PG&E used to give free home energy audits. That was many years ago. They don't do that anymore. So Green at Home is filling that void. PG&E does give free business energy audits, but not in the residence at all anymore. So one of the is not new. My parents, who are of the World War II generation, they saved energy at home when energy was rationed, and victory gardens were common, metal recycling was common, and people were excited and happy to do these things because it helped the war effort. And so now I'm hoping that people will get passionate about saving energy to take action to help us in the fight against global warming and climate change.
Many of the services that you mentioned were often based in neighborhoods or in local communities. And I've heard Green at Home be called a community-based program. Can you go into a little bit more detail about that?
Yes. Well, Actera's grassroots orientation has made it really important for us to engage the community in this whole activity. And really what we're trying to do is to get people motivated and excited about saving energy. There's a little bit of something in saving energy for everyone. First of all, it reduces our dependence on foreign oil. And secondly, it helps in the fight against climate change. And lastly, it saves money. I mean, who doesn't want to save money? And so we do this, and we felt the best way is to work with neighborhoods and schools and all kinds of organizations at the grassroots level to let them know that these free programs are available. But we also train volunteers to perform our house calls. So if you live in Cupertino and you request a free house call, we may be sending a friend or a neighbor who's one of our trained volunteers to come into your home, and they spend 2.5 hours with you there installing these energy saving ideas and giving you an audit and talking with you about saving energy, so that we hope that people will be inspired to go out, tell their friends and neighbors, and put one of our yard signs in their yard to let everybody know, hey, this is really exciting and it's a good thing to do.
That's great. So you're really tapping into the network of existing community-based programs also that are in place in many communities. Like in Cupertino, we have the Neighborhood Watch program and our Block Leader program and the Community Emergency Response Training. And you work with those groups to help train volunteers that you call house call volunteers. So the house call is really, some people would call it an audit, but house call is really the term that Actera has coined for this program, which is great. Can you place us in the shoes of the auditor and tell us a little bit about what they do in a home?
Well, yes. First of all, we call it a house call because it's more than an audit. What we do is that we have 2 volunteers, wearing our Green at Home T-shirts and a name tag so they're clearly identified, come to your home. It's all been set up ahead of time, and they introduce themselves to the resident, and they talk about what they're going to do in the home, and then they start with the installation of the energy-saving devices. So they do that by measuring water flows in the home, in showers and faucets. And so we will install, with the resident's permission, a low-flow shower head, low-flow faucet aerators in the kitchen or in the bathrooms. If the resident wants a retractable clothesline in the backyard where you save energy by drying your clothes outside, those are the types of things that we do. We optimize the temperature in your refrigerator and your water heater, and we give 3 CFLs, and we'll put those in for residents. All of these things will help you save energy right away. We hope up to 10% of what your annual utility bill is. And then our residents have something called a kilowatt meter. I mean, not our residents, but our volunteers. They have a kilowatt meter, and they'll go around and do an 80-point audit of your house using our checklist. And they will measure some of the plug loads, we call it, or that's how much electricity do some of your higher electricity using appliances in your home consume, and help people to understand what that is. And at the end of the house call, this is the really important part of the house call. The volunteers sit down with the resident and they go over what they did during the house call, how much energy they think that they'll be able to save, and how much money should that mean to their utility bill. We'll go over their utility bill with them to help them understand it in case they have questions about that. And we leave this customized checklist with them and identify 3 to 5 things they can do on their own. So the resident is a really crucial part of the house call. It's and like I said, we're hoping to inspire them. We're hoping to help save them money and energy right away, and we're hoping that they will be excited enough to tell their friends and neighbors.
Wow. So it's really a step-by-step process working with the homeowner, and a real partnership formed between the volunteer and the homeowner throughout the audit.
Yes.
That's excellent.
And some of the volunteers are so excited, with that they, keep in touch with the residents to see how they're doing, especially because they're often from the same community.
Wow. It sounds like there's a lot involved with an audit, with a house call itself.
Yes.
What goes into training the volunteers?
Well, we have a training program worked out at Actera. We have a very comprehensive handbook it's 7 full hours, or sometimes 8 or 9 if we're able to get in the extra time of training. And part of it is, most of it actually is hands-on training, like here to show me how to change a shower head, or how do I install a clothesline. So we make it very practical, but at the same time we help them to understand what are the things in an average person's home that will help save them the most energy. And no 2 house calls are alike, and all of our volunteers are trained in social skills as well, and absolutely and totally respect every resident's home that is kind enough to invite us into their home for a house call. And all volunteers have to complete the training before we will match them up with residents.
Wow, there's a lot involved with the training, it sounds like. That's great.
Well, we've had a phenomenal response to people who want to be trained. We have such highly qualified volunteers in all areas that we feel really pretty blessed by that.
Wow. So after the volunteers leave the home, what happens next?
Well, we have given the residents concrete suggestions of 3 to 5 items that we think that would be great for them to implement on their own. And we've asked them, you think you would be able to try to do this? And if they agree, then in a couple of months we'll call them back and say, how'd you do? How are you doing on that? So we do follow up with a phone call or possibly an email in a couple of months to see how they're doing. And we also track all the data that we receive in terms of that the volunteers write down when they're there, like this home saved 10,000 gallons per year if they keep that shower head in and use it. And so that we have in our database, we can tell you how many pounds of CO2 and how many dollars we saved in Cupertino as a whole. So we do track that. We also give the residents a folder full of information and resources. This is an example one of here. It's customized by city, and they can go through those and look for things like rebates or special programs that are being run.
Great.
For example, like the city of Cupertino and Apple have a free electronics recycling program.
That's great. So you're providing resources for the residents to also implement actions after the volunteers leave the site.
Yes.
So that the savings continue well beyond the house call.
Yeah. And in fact, that's an important part of the program, where we will get savings right away if we implement the devices, but a big part of the program is having people continue to save energy on their own afterwards.
Wow.
And people know a lot more than they really think already. So we just hope to engage them.
Wow. Where is the program offered currently? I think you gave a brief introduction to those cities that are currently offering it.
Yes.
Can you list those one more time?
I would be happy to.
Okay.
I know we would love to offer Green at Home in all cities, but we are only offering it right now in the following cities. It's Cupertino, Menlo Park, Palo Alto, Redwood City, and Sunnyvale.
Okay.
And we hope that, we might expand in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And how can residents get involved?
You can get involved in a number of ways. The first is to request a house call, and it's easy to do on the Actera website. You just hit the button that says request a house call. That's the fastest and easiest way. You can also call for a house call if you prefer, and we will schedule a house call for you. You can also volunteer, and that in a couple of ways. You can volunteer by helping to distribute flyers to your community, put them in the library, put them in the schools, distribute them to your neighborhood. Contact us and we'll make a presentation to your neighborhood or your school or whatever. We're really happy to do that. And then if you want to invest the time, which we have over 200 volunteers trained now, sign up for one of our training classes. You can learn about that from our website as well, and you can go through the 7 to 9 hours of training, get the handbook and the t-shirt and everything, and you're ready to go and to be matched up with people in your community. And it's really gratifying and fun for both the volunteers and the residents. It's a positive experience for everyone.
Wow. So the volunteers leave behind many energy and water savings devices. Can you walk us through this shopping list of items and also tell us how it's financed?
Sure. I'd be happy to do that. And first of all, we not only leave behind these items, but we will install them for the resident with, of course, their permission. So, I'll start listing those. One of them is a retractable clothesline. We will install that in your backyard, and that saves energy because you don't use your dryer, and it's really good in most months except for winter. So you might save 50 cents a load just by using your clothesline instead of the dryer. We install compact fluorescent lights, otherwise known as CFLs, and those use just a fraction of the energy that incandescent light bulbs use. And they have great colors these days. I know that when they first came out, they were, sometimes a little bit bluish, and, people didn't like the way they looked. They have soft white colors now and a choice of colors and dimmable CFLs. The ones that we provide are not the dimmable ones. They're usually just a 13-watt light bulb, but the resident, we hope we can inspire them to buy the dimmables if they want to. We will leave behind a refrigerator thermometer, and that helps people to keep their food safe, but also make sure their refrigerator isn't too cold or too hot. That one can work both ways, but for example, your refrigerator should be about 40 degrees and your freezer should be 0. And we'll install that for you. We will install a low-flow shower head. Low-flow shower head is considered to be 2 gallons per minute or less. And we leave behind the old shower head, but we install the new one. We will install low-flow faucet aerators, up to 3 of those, one in the kitchen and several in the bathrooms where necessary to get to 2 gallons per minute or less. And let me see, we also will provide outlet gaskets. Now, I don't know if you've seen these before or not, but if you go along the outside wall of your house and you have where you plug things into the wall, in the wintertime you might feel that it's a little cold there. We have insulation that we can install behind there that makes the house more comfortable, both for light switches and for outlets as well. And all of these things are free to the resident. Now, we're working in partnership with the Santa Clara Valley Water District. So for Santa Clara County, they have donated to our project the shower heads and the faucet aerators, but the rest of the items that we purchase through the funding that is provided to us by the city of Cupertino, for example, or other cities. And Cupertino, again, for example, the funds for Green at Home come from the federal stimulus dollars for energy efficiency. So it's not costing the city anything extra. These are funds that were coming to the city from the federal government.
Which we're very grateful to have, that's for sure. It's also doing a lot to do a lot of community outreach, so it's very likely that at any environmental event or any community event you might find an Actera table.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yes.
Great.
Well, that's an important part about it, because when it comes to learning about these free programs that your community is providing, getting the word out is extremely important. That's actually, one of the most important things that we do.
Is there anything else you'd like to mention about Green at Home that would be of interest to the viewers?
I think that I just like to say that really there's no catch. It's free, courtesy of the cities that we are working with. And we really are providing a valuable service. We come in, we install free items for free, and we do a home energy audit. And our goal is really, working with your city to help save energy for a variety of reasons to work towards a healthy planet.
That's great. Well, thank you for joining us today, Tawana, on The Better Part, and for all of your hard work to engage residents throughout the Bay Area in tangible actions to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Green at Home is truly a unique program that allows residents and community members to walk the talk when it comes to climate change. And I would just remind our viewers that you can log on to actera.org/green-at-home to schedule your house call or to sign up for the next volunteer training. And that Cupertino also has information about this program available on our website at cupertino.org/green. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We hope that you have found today's program both informative and interesting. If you would like to suggest a topic or a guest for The Better Part, you can always reach us at the Cupertino Senior Center. The number there is 408-777-3150. You can learn more about us and order a copy of this program or one of the many programs that we've done by visiting our website. The website address is www.thebetterpart.com. The Better Part has many of its programs available through the Santa Clara County Library System. And The Better Part has selected programs also on YouTube. Thanks again for watching. See you next week.